So 13 weeks of training done. London Marathon done. What is next? What does training look like for the rest of the year? And what are the plans moving into 2023? But of course, before we dive into that, we have a little thing called COVID that we need to talk about. So today we've got a couple of things to cover and let's dive right in. What is up guys, Andy Forrestine Runner here. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you a runner's perspective on catching COVID, and then after that we'll talk all about what's next for the rest of the year. So what a wonderful parting gift London has left me, and plenty of you guys as well. I shared it on Instagram and so many of you messaged me saying exactly the same thing. You either caught it before, during or after London, and my deepest sympathies go out to you. This is not pleasant, but we'll cover all of that shortly. As I said, the main focus today is to talk all about what is next, because there's a lot to unpack here and I want to go into it so that you guys have a good clear idea as to what will be coming up on the channel in the near future. So if you're excited for today's video guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and let's kickstart with a little bit of a debrief on COVID. Oh, and just before I do that, I want to shout out Ben Johnson on Instagram. He has sent me over this incredible bespoke source singlet that he's had made. It is such an epic colour, and we have his Instagram handle on the back here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Ben Johnson 763, that is right, isn't it? What a legend. He was kind enough to send this over to me, so I can't wait to rep this during some of the videos in the upcoming training videos that you're going to see on the channel. So Ben, if you're watching this, mate, thank you so much. I really appreciate this a lot, and it will be out there as soon as I can get back out on the road. So let me just put that over there, and let's talk a little bit about this COVID malarkey, because I tested positive on Tuesday. Now, the video that you saw of my race debrief, and once again, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of your kind words and support on that video. It means a lot to me. I don't want to keep covering it, and I won't keep covering it, but I tried to reply to all of the comments on that one. Couldn't on the race vlog, but I just wanted to reply to as many of you as I can to extend my thanks for watching and your supportive messages. But I actually recorded that video on the Tuesday morning, and I was in the office that Tuesday morning, and I felt rough during recording that video, and I felt rough that morning. I had to go home that lunchtime. I didn't feel well at all, and I actually then tested positive in the evening. But in the morning I tested and it was negative, so it's just started to come out through the day, but I actually started to feel rough Monday evening anyway. So it was kind of, and I've been told that these things sit in your, or COVID sits in your system for 72 hours. So I don't know if I've had this since Saturday, if I caught it going down on the bus when we were out in London doing some sightseeing, if I caught it on marathon day itself, who knows? But either way, I caught it there. And if you look at my heart rate, I'm not going to use it as an excuse for London. There's plenty of reasons why it wasn't good. But my heart rate was abnormally high, really crazy high. My heart rate's always usually higher on race day, but for the paces I was running, it was ridiculous. So who knows if it had anything to do with it. I don't care really, to be honest with you. I mean, I've got it now and it is what it is. So I tested positive on Tuesday. I'm recording this on Friday. It's currently day 4. Yes, I am in my office. I'm stating the obvious there. I am the only one that works in my office, okay? So just so that you're aware, I'm not infecting anybody else. I'm self-employed, so this is my office. I'm in my own little bubble here. I've sanitized and everything, so I'm just keeping myself out of the way. But as I said, I'm self-employed, so I do need to try and get back on with some work as soon as I can. In terms of how COVID has been for me, it's been a very weird experience. I just felt rough on the Monday and the Tuesday, and it started off with the tight throat, pounding headache, and just fatigue in the muscles, just really aching. In particular, my back, where the pain was during the race, it really seemed to target that weakness. On Wednesday, I felt like I'd been hit by a bus. My temperature went through the roof. It wasn't fever temperature, but it was borderline fever, and that just made everything. I felt horrific. That was really, really bad that day. But thankfully Thursday I got over that temperature. The temperature went, and I'm just back left with the throat. The headache is gone now, but it's just the fatigue, the fatigue in the muscles, the hips, the back, the arms, just everything. Everything feels such an effort, and the tiredness. So today is day 4, and I feel in myself, I feel so much better. But as I said, the chest is tight. It feels effectively like a chest infection. That's what it feels like for me. It's tight, I'm coughing up stuff, and the fatigue is just generally there. Plus I now have developed a metallic taste in my mouth, which I've heard a lot of people say That's come about today, especially on the tip of my tongue. It feels particularly strange. So at the moment, it couldn't have come at a better time. Not that I wanted COVID in the slightest, but do you know what? I'm quite happy because I've done London. I wasn't rolling into a massive training block next, which we'll talk about shortly. And I actually said to my wife, do you know what? If I can get London done, I don't mind catching COVID after that. And although I regret saying that to a degree, it couldn't have come at a better time. There's absolutely no pressure. I've got this week off anyway. And if I have to take next week off as well, or just roll into things lightly next week, that's fine. I'm really not too worried. So from a runner's perspective, I guess I'm not going to know the long-term effects of how this affects me, how long it's going to last, what I'm going to be left with until I start back running. But I kind of feel like I understand where people come from, because it does very much feel respiratory. And the worst thing about all of this for me is the tightness in the throat. I feel like if I can start to shift some of this gunk that's stuck in there, which I am doing by drinking loads of hot drinks, I'll feel so much better. But at the moment, I just need to start to shift some of it. So from that perspective, like in myself, I feel a bit lethargic, I feel a bit tired, but I feel good. I just need to kind of fast forward a few days to start to feel even more better. So what are my plans for the rest of this year? And what are my plans for next year? Well, I've made no secret about my plans for next year. My plans are simply that I want to run 2 marathons next year. I really do want to start focusing on the longer stuff, because ultras, I feel, are calling me. I feel like they are just around the corner. I know my strengths are shorter distances. I love 10Ks, I love half marathons, although I feel like 10K is my sweet spot. I've really excelled this year in a 10K. I've got a PB that I'm proud of. And I just need to make all the other distances kind of fall in line with that PB. So that ended up being 33:38 this year, which is something that it was a bit of a dream to run that sort of time. But none of my other times around that, my half marathon and my marathon, or even my 5K, even kind of come close to what that can be. I find that 10K is the perfect amount of suffering to not be too painful, but also to run fast and hard without hydration being an issue or anything else. So for me, it's really the focus on the rest of the year is to work on the shorter, sharper stuff again. Now that I've just done a big block of marathon stuff, I've got some shorter, sharper races coming up that I would love to get into. Not that I've booked anything, because obviously, and I'm grateful because I need to see how I recover from this. But after that, I've definitely got Newent 9, which is a local race that I do every year. I'm also going to look at doing the Hereford 10K around Christmas time. I try and do that where I can. That's a hilly 10K, so it's nothing fast and flat, but I love to do it. It's a good rust buster after Christmas. And there's some other races I'm looking at, potentially a half marathon, and I'm also looking at a couple of 10Ks. And I'm also hopefully going to throw myself into at least one cross-country race this side of Christmas. Cross-country is something I have never done, and I'm determined to get involved this season in the Gloucestershire League. So that's my focus for the end of this year. Next year, as I said, my focus is a spring and an autumn marathon. Now, because I didn't do a spring marathon this year, I don't have a good for age time that could get me into London next year. So I've put my name in the ballot. The chances are I won't get in. I've tried 6 years in the ballot. I didn't get in, sadly. I don't expect to have any luck this year either. Who knows? I'll keep my fingers crossed, but we'll see. Which means I need to look at other marathons. Now, the two that are really standing out to me are Manchester and Newport. Newport will be easiest. They're both on the same day, 16th of... I think it's the 16th of April. I think they're both on the same day. Anyway, they're both mid-April area. Newport would work best for me, and that's more the one that I'm swaying towards, although I do kind of feel like Manchester will be a great one to get involved in. So I just need to sit down and work out logistics of both of those. Obviously Newport I can drive to in the morning of, it's 45 minutes away, it's nice and easy. Manchester will be an overnight stay. We'll see how that all pans out, but either way, that's my focus for next year. And then of course in autumn I want to do a marathon as well. I really wanted to get a Berlin qualifying time. Berlin is on my hit list. That was the goal. Again, I'll be entering the ballot for Berlin, but for 3 years now I've not got into that, so I don't expect to get into that one either. We'll just have to see. So that's the plan for next year. Definitely a focus on 2 marathons, 2 more big marathon blocks. But the key for me here is hydration. And I have to put my hands up and say, I will not run a good marathon time, and I will not be a good marathon runner until I can sort my hydration out. I shared it in the previous video. I do not drink when I run a marathon. I do not drink when I run. My stomach goes into knots. My stomach goes into like a hyperspasm. I can't begin to explain the pain that I get when I drink. It took me ages to get used to gels. I've always avoided drinking. I finally got used to gels where they don't cause me too many issues. In London, they caused me a bit of stomach grief, but it wasn't horrific. It was okay. And I need to work on the same for drinking. I cannot go through another marathon block to be as disappointed as I am with London, and again with another one in the future. I know we're not always going to get the results that we want, but I'm just falling so short of these goals. I'm not just coming a minute or two under, I'm coming way below what I should be, and that's because I'm not staying hydrated, and it is not practical. So I've got plenty of suggestions from you guys in the previous video, which I appreciate. I've got plenty of things I'm going to try out. I'm reaching out to a lot of nutritionists and hydration experts that are helping me and are going to help me and guide me through this next process. And the first thing I'm going to do, for starters, is I'm just going to start taking a water bottle out with me, not on every run but on some runs, and I'm just going to start drinking, just start getting my body used to it, and just start with that small process. From there I'm going to build into it. I'm going to work longer. Now I know it was really funny, but if you saw Ailish McLaughlin, she was going to run London this year. She pulled out because she was having issues with fueling and stuff. I don't know what her issues are, but I totally respect that now. I think a lot of people went, oh really, can't you just wing it? And it's like, no, do you know what? You can't just wing it, because trust me, the pit of my stomach, the disappointment that you feel when you don't even get close to what you know you could get close to is really gut-wrenching. So especially when you train so hard for it. So if there's anything out there, advice that I can give, it's don't neglect your fueling. Hydration is going to be key for me, and that's something I'm going to be working on over the next few months. So there we go, that's my update on COVID, and then of course what is next for the rest of the year, and then what is happening moving into next year. So hopefully I've laid that all out for you. You'll be able to be aware of what's coming up on the channel soon. Obviously what I'd love to do, my goal is next week to get out for a nice excuse me, gentle jog. Oh, if this is okay, that's the goal. That's what we're going to see if it happens. But if not, I'm not in any rush. Trust me, listen, my focus right now is just to let my body reset. My back's still not right anyway, so I had a physio booked for this Thursday. I've had to cancel that. I'm shifting that into next week, hopefully when I'm negative, and I need to get that all sorted as well. But the goal is to get out there shuffling again, just get the body moving, and then I'd really not do anything intense for a good sort of couple of weeks before I even consider doing anything else. In terms of training blocks, I don't have anything specific right now to jump into. I am going to put together a mini speed block, which might be 6 to 8 weeks leading up to some race, whatever that race might be, but just to have some kind of focus before Christmas hits, and then I start to really think about marathons later on next year. So I appreciate you guys sticking around, and once again guys, thank you for all of your support over the last couple of videos. It means a lot. It's been a very surreal and weird time. I will just say I've managed to get in touch with one chap, Danny, who was with me at the time, he initiated the CPR. He then stepped back and stood with me whilst the medics were doing their thing. We had a quick chat. It's been wonderful to talk to him. Just that is a relief in itself, to share something when you've been through it with somebody. It just kind of lifts a massive weight, and I send my utmost respect to Danny. He deserves a medal as well, and yeah, it's been great. So I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys. I'm talking a lot about it, and I appreciate you guys listening to this one. Anyway, that's it. I know I'm waffling, my head's gone. It's all a bit blah at the moment. I'll see you next week for another video. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. If you enjoyed today, guys, please do give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.